This one is called The Pants. Take 8.
Yoga! Woo!
Welcome to Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, the best looking guys on the radio.
That's
All
us.
right, we made it.
Who told her to say that?
I think we did a long time ago.
That's actually what... Oh, that's right. We did write that as our own
Yes,
intro.
we did.
Well, today we are going to share something
Yes.
that coaches don't want you to know.
Yeah, make sure there's no one around because we're going to let you in on a little secret.
The secret the coaches don't want you to know.
But it is mother approved.
That's right. It
Yes.
is mother approved.
That's right. Today's show is called
Jump for Joy.
Woohoo!
Actually, meaning... Oh, should I read that now?
If you'd like to read it now, go right
Well, because
ahead.
now it makes sense why we're calling it this. Because a couple of days ago, and we always suggest you get a little book, right?
Yes.
So you can jot down when you have inspiring ideas or what you think God's best attempt for your
Yes.
day is, what God's will is for you that day, or what you think it might be.
Now, believe me, I tried to get Darrell to come off of the script for this one. I begged him, but he said it wasn't enough time, so he hadn't memorized his lines. But he did write this after all.
I did write it, but I couldn't remember it. So that's why I write it down. And this is because a couple of days ago it dawned on me, jump for joy.
Yes.
And this is what I wrote. I would jump for joy dawned on me as having a new meaning. Rather than just celebrating a wonderful happening, I began to see it as mentally jumping for joy.
Yes.
Like flipping a coin. You know, going straight for joy. There's no need to extend suffering or the suffering of figuring it out.
And the flipping the coin Darrell's referring to is from the book Prayer and You by Sister Mary Leah Hill, where she referred to how the flip side of unhappiness is happiness. And you can actually just flip the coin instead of dwelling on the flip side of it.
That's right. Which
Yes.
is focus on what you do want instead of worrying or contemplating the thing you don't want.
It's similar to a leap of faith. It's like go jump for the joy. A lot of times we jump at negative stuff because it scares us and it's easy to let our mind run in the direction of that scary stuff. But what we're doing is retraining our mind to jump for the joyful opportunities that come along.
It's allowed to think joyful thoughts.
Yes, just go for that. You're allowed. You don't have to sit around and hope that joy arrives someday. You can actually jump toward it. You can start directing your thinking toward it. You can do little actions that lead you toward joy.
Yes, because I learned from Dr. Cognito that the reason we're scared is because we're thinking scary thoughts.
Yes.
And you can easily change your thought. And that's the good news.
Yes. The hardest part to do is convince yourself over and over again that you can change your thoughts, because a lot of us haven't been taught to believe, to realize that that's the whole key to the whole thing. I used to so identify with my thoughts that I thought it was just me, you know. So it's taken me. I have to keep practicing the belief that this simple key works, and that is to just redirect my thinking in a positive direction.
And here's the secret we've been telling you about.
Yes.
Which is what we just shared. But here it is
Yes.
from Man's Victorious Spirit.
Yes.
And that's by Jack Holland. And all our books are available in one spot, which is goodreads.com/Darrell and Ed.
Yes. I mean, the reason we're joking, half jokingly, about the coaching thing is because Darrell and I talk about this a lot. There's a long way and a short way, especially when you're in a bind and you like. It's easy to get really anxious and think it's so bad, you know, and it's going to be a long time till I feel better. And right when you feel that way, there's a lot of people that will offer to help you through that long process. And sometimes they charge a lot of money or whatever. And there's nothing wrong with getting support and help. But it's helpful to know that there's a shortcut in a way to go straight toward the joy, or go there a lot more quickly than you might think is possible.
You know what? It reminds me, because we hear this prayer a lot, and we hear it so much, we kind of think, oh, rah, rah, rah. And the prayer is, God, grant me the strength to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Yes.
And what that means in a practical way is there's nothing I could do about the way I was brought up, what parents I had, or even what happened this morning.
Yes.
But I do have power over
Right.
what I can do now, and I could choose to do things that bring happiness to others.
Right. And I don't have a control over, say, like with my work, for example, there's a parent that I've been working with who just came along, and she's got her own energy and sort of negativity and stuff, and it was really getting in my head and getting me down. But right along with what we're talking about, I realized I can't change her at all, but what I can change is I can say, I'm practicing saying, well, can't do anything about that, but what I can do is change where I put my focus so I don't get caught up in the negativity, and I can live my life joyfully now. And in fact, that's actually the best solution. That's going to change everything. The outside will change automatically once I get myself into a better state.
Well, because you're naturally just realigning with what's real.
Yes.
And that's
yes.
why, even though it's hard at first, practice kindness
Right.
is a way to get you back into the flow
Yes.
of what is true, and you'll find yourself feeling joyful.
Yes.
And once we get to that joyful place, it's almost like the problem seems to unravel on its own.
Right. And all we have to do is get the sense that something joyful is possible, that it's coming. That's the feeling. It doesn't
Yes.
have, nothing really has to outwardly change. But once that inner change goes from dreading something to positive, hopeful expectation,
Yes.
that's what kicks it all in. That's what gets it all moving.
Yeah, we're going to talk a lot about joyful expectation. And here it is, folks. Perhaps one of the most important of all forgotten lessons of Christianity is to look at life with joy.
Yes.
We should realize that all of Jesus' teachings were of a very positive nature. Jesus was never negative about anything, and his words and acts were full of joy and comfort.
Yes, which is why as a kid sitting in church, and even now when I'm listening to someone talk and share these messages, that's what gets, speaks to me. That's what always drew me in. Like, this guy is amazing. It's so simple, and he knows what's going on. He's looking at life like we do as kids, naturally.
Well, it's funny because joy and happiness, it's the most coveted things that
Yes.
we all want.
Yes.
That we'll go study books, we'll join seminars, how to be more happy, read books on how to be more
Right.
happy. But when someone's happy, we undervalue it.
Well, you know what? This is the perfect time. Just off of our Nun telegraph machine.
That's right.
We just got delivered this warning issued by the Pope.
To read during our show.
Yes. So, and it says here, the Laughing Nun, by the way, is the one who made sure that we got this in time. So
Yes.
Thank you, Sister Lucia Yvonne over at the Pauline Books and Media
Yes.
/convent.
Straight from Samoa.
That's right. The most joyful person, one of the most joyful people I know.
Yes.
So in this speech that Pope Francis gave on Christmas to the Curia Vatican on a radio,
Ooh.
he said, the illness of funeral face, or rather that of the gruff and the grim, those who believe that in order to be serious it is necessary to paint their faces with melancholy and severity, and to treat others, especially those they consider inferior, with rigidity, hardness, and arrogance. In reality, theatrical severity and sterile pessimism are often symptoms of fear and insecurity.
What a relief.
I know.
I was telling Ed I was driving toward the house the other day, and it's during the Christmas time, joy to the world. And on this one house, it just had the word joy, and I thought that looked nice. Just the word joy.
Yeah.
Very simply decorated.
Yeah.
And then I thought, wait a minute. Like, joy, when it's shared in a church setting,
Yeah.
almost came across to me as they're saying joy,
Yeah.
but it's not like woohoo joy or
right,
let's
right,
just
right.
have fun.
Right.
When it came out of church, it always sounded like something dour
Yeah,
or sour.
yeah.
Joy. This
Right,
is
right,
the
right.
season of joy and good tidings.
Right, and that's exactly what the Pope was saying in his little reading here, is that too often, like, the words say one thing, but like the way we're taught to act about those words is dour and seriousness, and it's especially when it comes to the message of Christ, it is really one of joy, and it takes a leap, jumping for joy, taking a leap of faith in order
right.
to live that way.
Wait, aren't we going to do those breaths?
Not just yet, my friend.
I got
First, we're
excited.
going to do. I was just going to read from the glossary of the
yeah,
Science
this
of
is
Mind
good.
by Ernest Holmes. which is the definition of joy. And this goes back to what I was saying earlier, which is joy is the emotion excited by the expectancy of good, gladness, delight, and exultation. This is awesome. This means nothing has to change outwardly for you to feel joy. That's not where joy comes from. Joy comes from expecting good things to happen. Knowing that you're living in a loving, supportive universe. That is what generates the joy. The good stuff comes, but it's the expectancy. The emotion actually comes from just expecting good. Yes, sir.
I got an exciting mini story.
Oh, good.
This guy was several years, like 10 years ago, this guy I knew was complaining about how he was always, I'm never making enough money.
Yes.
I'm never going to get by. Mm-hmm. And he had like a friend, like I had Mike Dugan.
Right.
And he told his friend this, I never get by. I'm never going to make enough. So the guy just turned to him and said, well, how would you feel if you found out right now that you won the lottery and you're going to get all the money you need every month for the rest of your life? How would you feel? Think about that. He goes, that feels great. And I said, hang on to that thought. And sure enough, this guy did that.
Yes.
All the time. He'd go, I won the lottery. And he would absorb that feeling of feeling totally secure, which we all have won the lottery. God provides everything we need, but we forget.
Yeah.
And sure enough, this guy ended up getting a great job, doing something he enjoyed doing.
Yes.
And it's all this, you're allowed to do that.
Yes. Actually, grab that Emmet book there, because there's just a couple sentences from there, and then we'll do the breast. And I wanted to share, too, along with what you shared, I happened to open Your Word is Your Wand by Florence Scovel Shinn recently, and there was some affirmation that is something to the effect of the gateway of my prosperity is flying open now. And for some reason, I read that, and I've been using that, and it does what we're talking about. It opens up this expectancy of good, and I promise that every time I've used it, like amazing prosperity. Like we got some tithes for the show.
Oh, yeah.
Got wonderful gifts over Christmas. I got a raise from my work. It is amazing. When I really feel it, when I say it, and then I forget about it entirely, I let it go, it's inevitable that very quickly some sign of the gates of my prosperity flying open happens.
And just like the guy, you may say, oh, this is just Pollyanna. Well, just like that guy, winning the lottery was the general feeling.
Yeah.
It wasn't something specific.
Yes.
And it's that, like you're saying, the gates of my prayer, it's this big, open, general expectation that I'm going to be prosperous and taken care of. And why that's important is because now we're not directing what channel it must come from.
Yeah.
We're actually opening ourselves up to source, which is God. So then the channel can come out of the most absurd place.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we were talking about church and how a lot of times joy is dour. But there are also priests there, because people can think like, oh, in church you're never gonna, like people who have written church off. Trust me, if you go in there with the right open mentality, Darrell and I, all we meet is the most joyful priests in the world who really do get this stuff.
Yeah, who talk about it like we talk about it on the show.
Just like the sisters over at Pauline Books and Media, they get it, they laugh, they're so joyous, they get it.
And this is from Emmet Fox, Around the Year with Emmet Fox.
Yes.
And like we said, all our books, just go to goodreads.com/Darrell and Ed.
Yes.
And you'll be able to we piled them all on there so you can just find them in one spot, or if something calls out to you, like Ed likes to say. Mm-hmm. What's it, calls out?
I don't know. You're probably going to pin it on me, but I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, if anything, if you have stuff that you like that inspires you at home, you can read that. Also, a lot of these books, resonate. That's one of Darrell's favorite words, but he's afraid to use it. Darrell only uses the word resonate when he gets really high on spirituality. He's like, this is totally resonating with me. And I don't even mention the fact that.
And then Ed says, I'm going to piggyback on that.
I was going to say, some of these books, you can get them for as low as 1 cent plus shipping.
They're worth these. And what's great is all the books we read from, they're the type of books where you don't have to read cover to cover. You can just flip it open in an emergency and you'll be like, oh my God, that's the perfect 2 sentences.
Yeah, and a lot of the modern teachers like Wayne Dyer and Michael Beckwith, all these guys, when you read these books from like the 30s and 40s, you find out this is where they were, this is the stuff that inspired them. And a lot of people for a while There's some people that they don't quote where they got this stuff.
Right.
Like I used to think, wow, these guys are making up this amazing stuff. But then you read back and you see like Ernest Holmes,
From
Florence
1912.
Scovel-Shinn,
Yeah,
Emmet Fox,
yeah.
Eric Butterworth. All these people, this stuff has been around and it's meant to be shared.
It's been around for 2,000 years.
I know, at least.
At
That
least.
was just a guy who came along and said, dude,
We can have fun.
he
It's
said
all
this
about
has been
joy.
around forever is what
Yeah,
he was
that's what
saying.
he did say. He said, whoa, it's about joy.
He said, don't pin it on me. These are the words that came from my father. He even said, no.
That's right.
Yes.
You're right.
Yep.
Okay, this one's called Register Joy.
Yes.
And it says, if you really believe in the existence of God, you should be happy and cheerful. God has all power and God is good, so life must be good too.
Yes.
And then one last one, and this is from another page in here, and it says, don't pray or meditate as duty. Realize that prayer is a visit with God and should be joyous.
Yes.
And I was telling Ed, I just did this yesterday.
Yeah.
Because I had to make a call to the cable company about something, that's going on my bill that needs to be corrected.
Yes.
And I felt myself starting to think, all right, I'm going to call them, and this is what I could feel the weight.
Yes.
And instead, I was passing by the Pauline Books and Media, and the chapel's there. So I passed them, so I grabbed a cup of coffee, and I said, you know what, I'm going back. The most important thing I could do
Yes.
is get that joy back. And I just sat in there and I started feeling God's love going through me and out towards the cable company.
Yeah.
And I knew not to call them when I'm in this consciousness of dread.
Yeah.
Or this is this is why I said the to-do list is my best attempt at what's God's will for me.
Yeah.
So I don't get, no, I'm going to call the cable company today because it's on my to-do list.
Yes.
No, not if my consciousness is like feeling like I got to fight.
Yes.
Or explain. And I've been sending so much love, and I know I'll make the call either later today or another day. And
Or you'll get a letter that says you don't even need to make the call.
You're absolutely right.
We've seen it time and time again.
You're
That's
right.
the beauty of this stuff is the hardest part in the morning waking up is because I'm like so conditioned to believe that I have to control outside conditions. And the reason that feels so bad is because in reality, it's impossible. You can muscle your way around. I can muscle my way around. I can intimidate people. But there's no joy. There's no freedom. And I never get the best out of life when I do that. But when I do like this, I was so amazed by what Darrell was able to do. Instead of making the call to go to the chapel and then sending love to the company. That really works. And it always brings better than expected outcomes. It's amazing.
The best part of waking up
Is
praying
in my cup.
Did we do our breaths?
We're going to do it now. It's
All
funny
right.
you say that. So today's breath is something that Darrell always loves to sing. And I've taken to singing on answering machines. A good little jingle.
Yeah. So what is it? Sing joy and good tidings. Is that how it goes? Make a joyful noise.
Make a joyful noise. Joy to the world.
Make
for
a
sorrow is here. Okay, so this one goes, hi diddly dee, I'm happy, joyous, and free. Very simple. Take one breath to clear our mind.
Okay.
Hi diddly dee, I'm happy, joyous, and free.
Hi, diddly dee. I'm happy, joyous, and free.
Sing along. Come on, Jen Henry. Sing along. Hi, diddly dee. I'm happy, joyous, and free.
You're killing me, Eddie.
Oh, we got some few mail things from our latest run of YouTube videos that we wanted to share.
That's right.
I know that one thing, Jen Henry told us how much she loved the video, which was very encouraging. And we mentioned this because, man, when we see that stuff and we read that stuff, it is really inspiring to us.
Well, and last week, if you check out our last YouTube episode,
Yes.
it's titled Grace is our ace in the hole.
Yes.
And it was inspired by a fan of ours named Blind Bobby Biggs from Tampa.
Yes.
So we actually were inspired to do that episode to answer his concerns.
Yes.
So he actually listened to it that night.
Yep.
Because he can't see YouTube.
Yes. we didn't really realize that till afterwards, but it worked out anyway.
So this is what he wrote us back. He wrote, been listening to the video, converted it to MP3. While listening to the program, I feel God gave me a new nickname. The new nickname is Ace. It reminds me God's grace is truly my ace in the hole. Love you guys and thank you so much. Now I'll go to sleep and continue listening to the program. And then he wrote the next day in the morning, first thing in the morning.
Yes.
I listened to the YouTube program again. What do you think of my new nickname? Do you think it's a good idea? God bless. Love you guys.
And of course, we say yes. His
Yes.
new nickname is Ace, and we love it. So from now on, you should send any letters, sign your letters Ace.
That's right, because Ace is the place that's always standing in grace.
That's correct. That's correct. And then we had a quick note from Christine Barone, I believe.
Oh, that's right.
That came in through the Textoso.
Yeah, we just posted the YouTube episode 2 days ago, and already
Yes.
we received a lot of positive feedback.
Yes.
And this is from Christine Barone, who's a fan of ours from New Jersey.
Yes.
And she wrote, just watched Grace. You guys make me feel better. Thank you again, with a smiley face.
Yeah, and thank you. Thank you for listening. And to Sandy Page, thank you, because I believe you commented on the video that you enjoyed it as well. And
are you going to let them know where they could find our show and all that stuff?
the YouTube show, if you go to YouTube and look up Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed, you can find it. If you can subscribe to the page, I believe, then that means you'll be alerted whenever we put up a new one.
Yes. Our Facebook fan page, which is Funniest Thing at Darrell and Ed. And if you're just seeing this, we actually do have a radio program on unity.fm.
Yeah, Unity Online Radio at www.unity.fm.
Right.
And every Wednesday, 3 p.m.
Pacific
West Coast,
time.
Pacific time, 5 p.m. in the middle of the country, and 6 p.m. on the East Coast. We do our show live, but you can also look it up on iTunes. That's Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. There's an app called Stitcher. You can hear it there, and then there's another one. What
On
is it?
unity.fm, you can listen to all our archived episodes as well.
Yeah, exactly. If you like it, listen to it, share it. If you want to use it in a class or something to help, a fun way to get some of these messages across, the only thing that we would like is for you to let us know so that we can jump up and down and celebrate that someone is actually enjoying our show.
Yeah, we probably will, guaranteed, read it on the air, your letter.
Yeah, we got a few, let's.
I just want to also tell them that a big part of our show is
Oh,
the Daily
yes,
Word.
thank you.
And you could subscribe to the Daily Word at dailyword.com. That's dailyword.com.
www.dailyword.com.
That's right.
Yes.
And you can get a subscription sent to you. I like the paper ones because I'm going to read from an old one. Because you could tear them out. And this one's from 1996 that I'm going to be reading from shortly.
Yeah.
That I keep in my books that I read in the morning. You could get the app for your phone, or you can just get the online version.
Correct.
You can get everything, and it comes to like 3 cents a day.
I know.
And I mean, come on, if you can't afford, treat yourself to 3 cents a day to transform your life for the better, there's nothing we can do for you.
All right, let's get a few more readings together, and then we will ride on out on the on our horse.
That's
or
right.
on Mr. French and Gabby.
Well, I was talking about the Daily Word. If you're a Daily Word subscriber,
Oh, yes.
and you really want to be on our show, let us know, because during the second segment of our radio show, we always like to have a guest read and discuss the Daily Word for that day. And I also want to let you know, if you don't have 3 cents a day, you can go to dailyword.com and read the Daily Word for that day.
That's right.
Absolutely free with no obligation.
And you can still come on our show and read it. We'll send it to you, to be honest. But we
Yeah.
do encourage you to add that to your daily reading, because it's so perfect. It's so simple. Especially, I mean, if you're just beginning, it's great. If you've been practicing this stuff forever, it's still great. So let's do a few more readings. This one comes from Daily Guidance from Your Angels by Doreen Virtue, which is also on our goodreads.com/Darrell and Ed list.
And Ed likes the cover because it's lavender, Very feminine.
It's the color of kings and queens. This is from number 56 called Surrender Your Cares. This is a slightly abridged version.
Yes.
But I do like this book. I don't often actually go for the shiny dazzlers, but I ended up getting this book, The Funniest Thing, and I really enjoy it.
It's a good thing. Like, don't judge a book by a cover. And we mean it the opposite way.
Yeah.
Because this is a cover I would never pick up. Like,
Yeah.
go just take a quick glance in the bookstore. If it calls to you,
Yeah.
you pick it up, grab it, take it home.
That's right. Sometimes you'll tuck them away, and then all of a sudden you'll pick them up again at some other time
True.
and start reading them. And this one is called, again, from Daily Guidance from Your Angels, Surrender Your Cares.
Oh, I like that.
Your cares are too heavy a burden to shoulder by yourself. Once they're moved to a higher plane, your outlook will be uplifted as well. This new perspective will help you think clearly and creatively, allowing you to attract and manifest all the good you desire. Instead of wrestling with mind-clouding cares and strains, give them all to us. Instead of wrestling with mind-clouding cares and strains, give them all to us. We call it hurl your crap over the fence.
And let God take care of it.
Yeah, so let this be your last day of needlessly and single-handedly carrying burdens. Allow us to take the weight completely off from your shoulders and lift your mind and heart to the light. And this part of the affirmation at the bottom says, I'm carefree and lighthearted as I release the burdens I've been carrying. I now allow God and all the angels to gently and lovingly lift away all worries. I feel centered and peaceful.
Yes, the only thing that's required is for us to choose to believe that that's how it works, because it really
Correct.
does. If you just give this a trial,
Yeah,
you'll be saying, funniest thing, you're not going to believe how everything worked out.
I know. That's what this is all about. That's what this is really all about. The best part about it, the more you get the hang of it, it frees you to do it. Practice it however you really want to practice it. It has nothing to do with us. We're just two numbskulls who stumbled into this,
That's
and we're
right,
blessed
'cause
to have
remember,
others share it.
The universe always says yes.
Let's hear what kind of yes it has to say today. Come on.
hope
I know it's a
good-
gamble.
I know, it might not be a good one.
Well, yes.
That was a good one. Okay, I'll read this quick one from.
Well, tell them, because we say that the universe always responds yes, meaning if you're thinking along the lines of joy and
Yes.
things that bring you joy, and that's why we often say to each other or remind each other, think of what you want. Don't worry about what you don't want.
Yeah.
Because the universe will reward you with more
Yeah.
of what you're thinking on.
Yes, yes.
So if you're thinking joyful thoughts, be enthusiastic that the universe is going to respond with more
Right.
things to be joyful about.
And a little trick, if you're thinking negative thoughts so that this doesn't scare you too much,
Yes.
remind yourself that these thoughts don't have any power to block the good that God has for me. Because sometimes our subconscious mind starts pushing out crap, this
Means it's
negativity
coming
starts
out.
happening. But in the here and now, we can say, you know what, even these thoughts don't have the power to block the joy that God has for me. And that's a way of redirecting your thought in the here and now into a positive space.
And that's what our last YouTube episode is all about. Grace is your ace in the hole. So you
Yeah.
can check that out on YouTube.
So a sentence from today's, A Deep Breath of Life by Alan Cohen. It was called The Beginning is Near.
Because it's the start of a new year. Every day
Yes.
is the start of a new year.
Yeah, exactly. That is so important. That's why I think the holidays sometimes get tricky, any kind of holiday, because it seems like it's a once a year happening, but every moment is a chance to start a new year and a new life and a new day and a new moment. So it says, greet the new year with a sense of joyful anticipation. No matter what has happened this year, you have the power to create your next year as you choose. It's
And-
true. It's true. Give it a chance.
And the moment we've been waiting for, we're going to say goodbye with this reading from a daily word from May 31st, 1996.
Yes.
And, this is almost 20 years old.
Amazing.
And it says, here it goes. It's called What's Next? And it says, God is our guide. We can be certain that the future will be full of phenomenal experiences for us. I'm going to read this last little bit because if you're thinking about any of your problems,
Yes.
this is from the Bible, Mark 10.
Well, why don't you read this and go right into
Oh,
that?
yeah,
That's
it's
good,
all
too.
good.
Yes.
All right, it says, yes, the future holds great things for us, and together we can look forward to it with an expectation of unlimited peace and harmony. For mortals it is impossible, but not for God. For God all things are possible. Mark chapter 10, verse 27.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that came off of the White Album that Mark put out.
Oh, you ready?
We're ready. Anything else you want to say before we say goodbye? Jump for joy.
Jump for joy.
All right, here we go. Bye, everybody.
Don't delay. Jump for joy today.
Your message from
Eddie, are you okay? Are you okay, Eddie?
Thank you for listening to The Funniest Thing with Darrell and Ed. Listen in every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central as these unlikely saints share more real-life stories of how surrendering to divine order always leads to better-than-expected outcomes. This program has been made possible by God through automated monthly transfers from Darrell and Ed's credit cards.
You've been hit by. You've been hit by. A spiritual guru. A spiritual guru.